What's going on, everybody? Welcome to the next episode of Arena Goat Talk, bringing on the legends of this game, letting them tell their story and give you guys some tips along the way. Our next guest is one of the most complete linemen to play this game. Someone I looked up to. He helped teach me this game. So we got the GOAT himself, the GOAT lineman himself, Mr. Ernest Allen. How you doing today, sir?
Man, I'm doing good, EJ. Man, it's a pleasure to be here. Thank you for inviting me, man. You got a real good thing brewing here, man. And the vision, I see the vision, and I'm welcome to be. I feel welcome to be a part of it.
Yeah, I appreciate you taking time out because we've known each other for years, and we kind of through the last couple of years we kind of gone our separate ways and ain't been able to catch up.
Yeah, I know, man. You've been a coach, man. Shoot, you living that crazy life.
Slowing down a little bit right now, so
Yeah, true.
you're used to being busy, so you can't stand to sit still.
True indeed. True
So,
indeed.
but yeah, so let's kind of dig into your story. So let's first talk about where you from and talk about you growing up, and then let's lead up into high school, and then we'll move on to the next part.
Okay. Well, yeah. I'm Ernest Allen. I grew up in South Bend, Indiana. I was originally born in, if you want to go back that far, a long time ago. I was born in Long Beach, California, and I moved back to the Midwest. Grew up in Michigan and Indiana, which is the area called Michiana, and which is right on the border in between Michigan and Indiana. Graduated high school a long time ago, before most of these people who are listening were born. So in 91, I graduated John Adams High School. I ended up going to the University of Cincinnati. I in 1991, and from 91 to 94, I played 4 seasons. I didn't redshirt, and I had the opportunity to sign with the Seattle Seahawks in 1995, and I was there for a hot minute in training camp. My journey took me to the World League, where I was there for training camp, and then I ended up having the opportunity to play arena football. And I thought I was just going to play arena for a short time, and I'm gonna age myself a whole lot. So I started playing arena football in 1996. 1996 was my first year playing arena with the West Palm Beach, in West Palm Beach with the Florida Bobcats, and I thought I was just going to use it as a way to just keep my name in the loop, and make sure that I stayed around the game. And I thought I was maybe going to play like maybe a year, and I was going to go back to school. And then I had a decent year, and I learned the game in a unique way. I really didn't have a true offensive line coach. I learned how to block from he was a guy, I forget his name. He was the offensive line coach for the Miami Dolphins, and he was friends with Jim Jensen, who everybody know all the old heads who know football before 1989. They know who Jim Crash Jensen is. He was my head coach with the Florida Bobcats. He's like a Miami Dolphins legend in a lot of ways from his time. But he had some connections, and we had a defensive line coach, but all he knew how to coach was defensive line. He had no idea how to coach offensive line. And back then, the main premise was to get defensive linemen, because it was a true two-man Iron Man game, and teach them how to block, because you cannot teach an offensive lineman how to pass rush and how to play the run. So all my teammates, all my lineman friends were defensive linemen except two, and they were the centers. Everybody else they were defensive linemen. And so they bought in. offensive line coach for like 3 weeks, for like 2 weeks, and he taught me how to block. He taught me how to use my post foot. He taught me how to actually get in position. He taught me how to drop my anchor when to actually defend against a bull rush. He taught me how to do a lot of different things, and then a lot of things carried over from just me playing offensive line in high school. I actually was a two-way player in high school also. So I learned the game down there. We were not that good. we, we were like the bad news. No, we weren't the bad news bears. We were a new team. We were formerly called the Miami Hooters. The guys
Okay.
who owned the guys who owned the Hooters decided to have a bright idea to start an arena football team. They ended up losing the team, and then it got bought out by two businessmen who established the Florida Bobcats. And so from there, I ended up getting traded because I was decent. I was pretty good. I gravitated towards the game. I loved the game for the most part because it was man on man football. It really gave you an opportunity to actually learn both sides of the ball in a complete fashion, especially if you have really good coaching. And and you and I have experienced some really good coaching when we were teammates. We had one of the best coaches probably that ever coached arena football. Two of the best coaches, and I ended up getting traded to the Albany Firebirds, and this was back before there was no free agency, so the league controlled your rights, and wherever they want to place you, wherever they could work out a trade between two teams, that's where you were going. So I ended up going because I wanted to go back to Florida. I mean, I thought I was going to go back to Florida, but I got a phone call. I got traded to the Albany Firebirds. Met some really good people. Hopefully, you get a chance to get Kyle Moore Brown on here.
And on them.
Yeah. Hopefully, you get my boy Big Kyle on here, man. He was a veteran at that point. He had maybe like 1 or 2 years in, and he and I became real cool. Leroy was actually my roommate.
Okay.
He was just on here a couple of episodes ago. Leroy is my roommate. Derek Stingley, who now everybody knows Sting, Big Sting. His son was the first one. I was Derek Stingley's teammate. It was a really loaded team. It wasn't the city and the team culture did not match me. And I ended up getting to a fight. And if you know me, everybody who knows me and play with me, I mean, I have a certain way of preparing. And I ended up getting a fight in practice, and I ended up getting suspended the last 4 games, and they held my rights. I'm skipping over a lot of things, but I'm giving you the short story. They held my rights, and I ended up getting traded to the Milwaukee Mustangs, which was even more of a trip. I had a decent coach. Gary Compton was my teammate. Everybody who knows arena football knows G Comp. It was a really good group of guys. Milwaukee and the organization just wasn't my cup of tea, and I was there for 2 years, and I ended up telling them my last year, I was like, I'm gonna sit out if you guys bring me back. I'm not coming back here. I don't really, I don't want to be in this situation with the team. And either you can trade me and I can go somewhere else. I'm gonna sit out. And I told them this at the banquet at the end of the year. So long story short, they ended up trading me. It was like a blockbuster trade that year. And this was the year before the collective bargaining agreement. Barry Wagner, everybody know B Wags. It was a 3-team trade between Orlando, Milwaukee, and New Jersey. New Jersey traded for Barry Wagner, um, Alvin Ashley, who was a really really good wide receiver back then. He got traded to Milwaukee, and Milwaukee traded me to Orlando. So it was like three players in a three-team trade. Went to or went, and that was like a blockbuster trade. It was a big deal, because nobody thought Barry was going to leave Orlando, and I don't know why Barry left. Only Barry knows, and the organization back then knows why he left. But I ended up coming here, and I instantly fell in love with Orlando. As soon as I got off the plane, I saw the palm trees, and I knew I was at home. So seriously, I mean, I grew up in the Midwest where we were landlocked, and the only thing we had was Lake Michigan, and it was only visible maybe 4 months out of the year. So I moved up, when I came here, saw the palm trees, and it was March, and I was wearing shorts. I was like, oh, this is home.
That's happened for me. They said you around housing, I ain't going nowhere.
Oh yeah, exactly. I know. Hey, I remember when I remember. People don't. Hey, EJ was a rookie. His rookie year, he was with me in Orlando. Your first year in Orlando was my second year.
Okay.
That was my second year. Because you came in 01, right?
I came.
I came
in 03. 02, I was in Cape Fear, and so when I came to Orlando, I could pass rush, but then it was you that made me figure out how to block.
Oh yeah. Because you weren't gonna play.
Sit out on the bull. You kept knocking me out the way, and Fran knew what he was doing. Is look here, if you can handle a Ernest Allen bull rush, you'll be all right. It took me like a week and a half, 2 weeks to even get close to learning how to sit down. But it was either you or it was Doug.
Oh yeah.
I'm over here trying to do the beautiful kick step. Y'all kept knocking me out the way. I'm like, all right, you do this thing out, or you gonna get cut. One or the other.
Yeah. You were light too. You was one of the lightest linemen. We was all over, close to over 3 bills. I mean, you can't.
For me, I was 250 at that time.
Yeah, man. You was, but you held your own. And one thing, when I came here to Orlando, I saw how they won because they already had a culture. I stepped into a situation here in Orlando where the culture was already set. The standard was already set. I mean, no situation is totally perfect. But back in 2000, there was a lot of labor issues going on, and there was a lot of issues politically going on in the league that have been boiling over like for several years before then. Excuse me. So when I got to Orlando, a lot of people didn't know if the league was going to stand even more like another 5 years, because things were just really things were like a quagmire, and and we had a really, but the standard here and several other teams like Tampa, Arizona, San Jose, even Albany, they set the tone. And the standard was a standard down here, man. If you couldn't pass rush and block, you wasn't gonna play. You were not gonna play. You weren't gonna sit up and just try and be a defensive specialist and be a defensive lineman. And we had two of the best coaches to ever coach in this game, which was Jay Gruden and Fran Papsadero. Rest in peace. Fran was one of the best men you probably ever meet. And I owe a lot. I owe a lot to Fran. Fran stuck up for me in a few ways, and we had a pretty decent relationship. And he taught me the details of the game. He taught me the details of blocking, and he taught me the details of substitution. And they knew substitution better than anybody. To where when I left Orlando, I took it for granted that people knew how to substitute. And what you had you had a lot of guys coming from the outdoor game, coming to the indoor game, not having a clue on how to run substitution and how to actually read people and how to know who you coaching and know who can play certain limits. It's an art to it, and we had two of the best to do it.
Yep.
I mean, seriously, I'm not even playing. Fran and Jay were like a two-headed monster, and we got a whole lot done because we had a really good set of we had two of the best leaders in this league to actually help that help bring people along. Fran and Jay developed a lot of the players who actually came into this league. You know what I mean? And actually have made this league great. So I mean, I when I moved here, when I came here, man, the first year we won a world championship, and it was the best thing going, and it solidified my love for Orlando even more because I met a lot of great people in the community, and I decided to make my home here, and then we ended up, I ended up playing here till 03, and then when Fran passed away, that it really it put a wrench in a lot of things, and it was time for me to go, and that's when free agency was really starting to heat up, and I remember I was at an event and I asked a league official. I was like, man, I don't want to leave Orlando. What should I do? He was like, man, you would be a fool to stay here because they know you want to stay here. So you need to take advantage of free agency. So I bit the bullet, and I ended up getting signing with the Dallas Desperados, and played there for 2 years. Had a decent time. Will McClay was the defensive coordinator. Then he became the head coach my second year, I believe. No, he wasn't the head coach. The special teams coach for the Cowboys was the head coach. Alvin he was cool. He was one of the coolest coaches, man. I mean, he was a real good dude, and I ended up playing there 2 years. I was okay. They really helped take care of my body, and I ended up, when then me and EJ reunited in Philly.
That was a good time. That was a good time.
Yeah, it was good, man. And to be honest, man, EJ, I didn't even really want to go to Philly, but I was like, man, I'm gonna use this opportunity to just really refocus on the game and just become a better person. Literally, that's what I said to myself before I even went.
Yeah.
When Muncie called me, when Brett Muncie, who was the head coach, called me, and then the solidifier was John Bon Jovi called me. John, I know you have. Yeah. That's what I said.
Me too.
Yeah, man, I was in the gym working out, and my phone rings, and I see this strange number, and I answer it, and I'm like, "Hello." He's like, "Hey, Ernest, how you doing?" I'm like, "I'm doing good. Who's this?" He's like, "This is John." I was like, John, okay. John, how can I help you? John, who? He's like, "This is John Bon Jovi." I was like, "Holy shit!"
Yeah, cool. What's up?
I was like, "Yeah, this is Ernest." Man, then he took care of. He was one of the best owners that I had ever played for, because everything he said he would do, he did, and on times 10. I mean, that was one of my best experiences when I was in Philly. But I knew I wasn't gonna be there for long because I mean, back then, I was a young bull. I mean, for real, I was considered an old dude, but man, anybody who know me, who played with me, I had a particular way of handling shit. And my main objective was not to let my team down. And that's what will be going through my head during practice. That was what will be going through my head when I was watching film, and that will be the reason why I will practice so hard. And anybody who was my teammate know I didn't, man, from the first year to the last year. You come to work, man. You bring your damn lunch pail because I'm gonna wear your ass out in practice, and we're gonna make this practice hard. We're gonna make this practice, intense, and we're gonna put this game in a we're gonna put ourselves in a position in this game to where the games are easy. That the game's gonna be easy because I literally I got this key when I came here to Orlando. I made it a point to make my body into almost like into a weapon. Mm-hmm. Seriously, I wanted to make my body into something that was like could not be dealt with, and that's why I used to go even during pregame. They had to tell me to slow down during pregame, and then what I would say. I'm not going to really go into detail, but I wanted to make sure that I was ready, and I wanted to make sure that I did not have any flaws in my effort and my preparation in getting ready for this game. And I took the game serious, and I wanted to make sure that I really put the team in a position to win at the end.
Mm-hmm. When you were growing up, were you motivated somewhat close to how you were now, or was there a time, instance, or anything like that kind of put you in motion to be who you ended up being?
Oh man. Yeah, I was motivated, man. I mean, I didn't start playing football till like the 8th grade. I really the 7th grade, but my grades was bad, so I got kicked off the team like mid-season in 7th grade. So 8th grade was my first time playing a full season, and the first time I got a sack, I was hooked. I was hooked, man. I mean, I was literally hooked, and I fell in love with the game. I grew up in South Bend, Indiana, and that was during the heyday of Notre Dame. That's when Notre Dame was, they had won the national championship, and they're like they are now. Mm-hmm. It's a little different now, but Notre Dame was everything, and I can actually hear the games from my porch. I live like maybe 10 blocks away from Notre Dame, and I can hear the games over the PA. When they were playing on Saturdays, I could hear the games from my porch, man. And I fell in love with the game after the 8th grade, and then when Notre Dame started winning, and I started really seeing, I saw them riding around town like I used to see Jerome Bettis riding around in this blue blazer, you know what I mean, and then Todd Light, the DB, the All-American DB, came and actually spoke to us in high school and told us about goal setting, talked to us about, actually setting goals and writing them down and actually putting them in a place to where you can see them every day. And I tell youth athletes that to this day, what he told me in I think it was in the 11th grade, he came and talked to us. And I learned, I got a love from the game. It was like a perfect storm of Notre Dame football, me getting a sack, my first sack in the 8th grade, and then everything started snowballing from there. And I ended up, having really a decent coach my 9th grade year in high school, and then my sophomore year I almost didn't play because I wanted to make money and I wanted to actually get a job. So I almost didn't play. Mm-hmm. I was this close to not playing football because I couldn't afford shoes. Mm-hmm. And they actually took me to a shoe store and they bought me, and my position coach bought me some shoes. And that's when I started falling in love with football, and And I actually, I would go to the library and actually read books on how to have the best defensive line. What are the best defensive line drills? What's the best technique as a defensive lineman? This is in high school where I wanted to get granular with this preparation of how to become a better defensive lineman.
Mm-hmm.
And I fell in love with the game.
So fast forward, I know you kind of you kind of went through it real quick.
Yeah.
Like when you were in high school and now it was time to look at colleges.
Uh-huh.
Kind of briefly, like
Okay.
talk about your experience with that. That way people who are going through that right now can, I guess, you lay out an example. This is what you went through. That way it can
Yeah.
help out somebody that's going through it now.
Yeah. I mean, I ended up started getting recruited my junior year, and my grades they were horrible. They were not good, and things are different now. I mean, and you have access to every, in my opinion, every tool possible to make sure that you actually understand what you're being taught in school. That's just my opinion. I mean, we didn't have Google. We had the library in the Dewey Decimal System and card catalogs. You know what I mean? And microfilm. So my experience was my grades sucked. The University of Michigan's offensive line coach was friends with my head coach, and they used to have lunch together. And when he would come down there on recruiting visits, and he came and saw me play basketball in gym, and he left a press guide for me. And back then, you couldn't give gifts in any way. So they called me down to the office, to the coach's office, and my coach said, "Hey, this is the University of Michigan's offensive line coach is interested in you. He can't give you this press guide, but he can let you hold it for a week to look over it." Man, I looked at that joker from stem to stern. I showed my mom. My mom was excited, but she really didn't understand the process. And they looked at my grades, and it was a no-go. It was a no-go. So they kind of let me go by the wayside. Notre Dame did not recruit kids locally. Really, they still don't, unless you just like a All-American like 3 years in a row in when you're in high school. So I ended up getting recruited by Western Michigan. Louisville was real hot on me. University of Cincinnati, Indiana State, and then West Virginia. And I ended up, looking at West Virginia. I ended up looking at Louisville. Louisville was real cool. I liked, they were winning. Jay Gruden was actually he was a GA back then. I actually got a picture of Jay in a press guide that they sent me. That when Jay was a GA at Louisville, Jay had just graduated. He was a quarterback at Louisville. They had a great defensive line coach. They loved me. It's just my grades sucked, and they wanted to make me into a Prop 48. And if people don't know what a Prop 48 is, that was a Proposition 48 basically allowed you to actually sign a letter of intent, go to school, pay. You have to actually pay for your own school through work study and other programs and possibly grants. And then you have to prove that you were able to do the schoolwork if your grade point average was under a certain point. And they designated me a Prop 48 recruit automatic. Cincinnati came in, and Coach Ted Dasher, he came in and he combed through my transcript, and he told me that we can save you from being a Prop 48. And what was going to save me was my chemistry class. I was about to drop my chemistry class because it was, I wasn't doing well in it. And I had decent grades up to that point, but chemistry was killing me. But all I had to do was get a passing grade. And Coach Dasher told me, he was like, look, all you got to do is get a passing grade past the final. And we can actually help you, and that'll get you to a point, because I already have my SAT and ACT scores done. Cincinnati showed me how to do it, and that was the linchpin of me going to Cincinnati, because he broke down how I could actually become get a college scholarship, which was one of the 3 goals that I got from Todd Light to actually put me in a position to actually go to school. And I had people actually laugh at me, because I told me, I was like, I'm gonna leave here. I'm gonna leave John Adams High School in South Bend, Indiana. I'm gonna leave here with a diploma in one hand and a scholarship in another. I told people this over and over and over again, whoever would listen. And that's exactly what happened. And Cincinnati was a major part in that. So I ended up qualifying, taking the final exam. I'm not going to tell you my grade because it was passing. I got a passing grade. I took the test, and I actually, they allowed me to take the test by myself in a damn little glass closet, like a little closet office. And I took the test, and a lot of it was like God, me praying and guessing. But I did study. I understood. I understood the periodic table. I understood elements. I understood different minerals, and I understood how that worked. But it was the equations where I would get nervous. And I ended up passing. And when I passed, and the teacher graded my test right then, she told me I passed. I ran down to my coach. I was like, I passed. He like, I know, because she already had told him. Ended up signing my letter of intent, and ended up going to Cincinnati.
Okay, so let's fast forward to because when you left Cincinnati, you had your time in the NFL, right?
Short, yes.
So speak on I guess briefly on that time, and then how you got introduced specifically to the AFL game.
Okay, well, in 95, I ended up I was actually going into 94. I'm gonna kind of go back to my senior year in college. Going into 1994 season, I was in the top 40 at my position. I had a decent, I had a pretty good junior year where I had 10 sacks, 12 tackles for loss, and I had like close to like, I don't know, like 50 or 60 tackles. You know what I mean? I had a pretty good junior year, and I was on people's radar. I was in the top 50 at my position in 4 or 5 draft reports. I ended up playing the first 4 games, and I ended up getting sick. And it was some other issues I didn't really like. We had the coaching change that I didn't agree with, and I was going, I wasn't living right. You know what I mean? You're a 22-year-old, 21-year-old dude. You think you're invincible and you ain't living right, and you ripping and running and doing other crazy mess. I wasn't crazy, man. I wasn't no big drinker or nothing like that. I just wasn't taking care of myself. And I ended up fainting on the field. I ended up passing out on the field. I remember we were playing Bowling Green, and they were whooping it. And Urban Meyer was the head coach. That was like his 3rd year at Bowling Green. They ended up beating us at halftime 42-0. And this is a MAC school. Nothing against MAC schools, but we didn't look at MAC schools as like a perennial power, like a Penn State or nothing like that. And so I looked up at the scoreboard, and the next thing I know, I got people around me pulling me up. I was so pissed off. I was hot. So I ended up falling face first onto the field, getting a turf burn right here on my forehead. They didn't know what the hell was going on with me. Back then, there was like a rash of athletes who were falling dead of like heart issues. And so what happened is, as soon as I fainted, they put the protocol in motion to check my heart backwards and forwards, and that was a 4-week process. I lost four games from me fainting on the field, which plummeted my draft stock. Everything went to crap. You know, I'm not saying I was going to be a first or second, third round. I was projected to go between the fourth and the sixth round. And that's when they had, then that year, that was the year when they had to cut it down to 8 rounds. So I ended up losing 4 games, and I battled my way back, went through a whole rash of heart tests, and I ended up, you know, having a decent year, finishing up. We still sucked. We did not play well. If you look at the record of Cincinnati back in 1994, we were in a rebuilding year, and we were not that good following a year where we were actually bowl eligible. So I lost a lot of motion, a lot of gravity with me fainting on our record. So I ended up dropping down. I signed with an agent though, and I ended up signing with a really good agent. And come draft day, I thought I was maybe I wasn't going to go in the first 2 days. So I just pretty much, I was at my grandma's house in my grandma and my granddad's house in Columbus, Ohio, and I just stayed up there for the weekend. You know, my granddaddy fed me, and he loved watching me eat. So I just ate all weekend and worked out a little bit, and then come Sunday, my name did not get called at all. So the draft was over with. I ended up, it was like 7 to 8 o'clock. So my draft was over. I didn't think nobody was even, I left like at 5 o'clock. I called my boy up. I was like, man, come pick me up so we can head back to Cincinnati. He's like, yeah, okay. So my boy came and picked me up. We drove back to Cincinnati. I get back to my apartment. I got like 10 messages on my phone. This is back when you had answer machines where you can see the messages. So I go through the messages. My aunt, who never calls me, my Aunt Ruth calls me and said, Jamie, there's a scout here from the Seattle Seahawks. He wanted to talk to you. The Seattle Seahawks, who had just signed, they signed Joey Galloway. They sent a scout to Ohio State to sign Joey Galloway, who was taken in the second round, in the first round. He was I think he was a top 10 pick. That same scout stayed in Columbus the whole weekend, and he signed a bunch of other players. I was one of the free agents that he signed on that Sunday after the draft. I had like 10 messages. His message was like the third or fourth message. I burnt that damn phone up calling him. I called him. He's like, "Hey, Ernest, how you doing?" I was like, "Yeah." He's like, "You ready to be a Seahawk?" I was like, "Yeah." I was like, "Hell yeah." So I didn't say hell yeah, but I was like, "Yeah, I'm ready to be a Seahawk." So he comes and picks me up, takes me out for a steak dinner. He was like, "Ernest, we really like your play. We like the way that you actually fight pressure. You're going to be like a run stopper. Your pass rush has to get some work, but you're going to be like you're really good at stopping the run. So that's why we took you. But if it would have went to a 12th round, you would probably win the 10th round." I'm like, okay. So we finished the steak dinner, go back up to his hotel room. I signed the contract right there. They wanted me to sign right there because also the Atlanta Falcons was actually contacting my agent too. But the Atlanta Falcons wasn't going to give me the amount of money that I wanted in my signing bonus. So the Seahawks gave me more money in my signing bonus. I signed the contract, and I ended up being a Seattle Seahawk for a hot minute. Without all that.
So when did the Arena League come into play?
Oh, I came into play when I was in the World League. This was in '96 in training camp, and the World League would actually invite other leagues to come and actually scout players who are on the bubble. And I was so doggone, I was kind of like, I was kind of like really kind of like disengaged with football. I loved it, but I had been cut, and it was just really it was really not a good time for me. But I went there. My agent got me a tryout. After like 2 weeks down there in training camp in Atlanta, the Milwaukee Mustangs line coach came and talked to me, and I should have looked at that as a damn as a sign that I was not going to be going into the I was not going to be flying over to Europe. So I ended up just kind of shooing him off, and I got a few letters from the Albany Firebirds or something like that, and I just shoot it off, and then I ended up getting released by the Ryan Fire, and then the Florida Bobcats contacted me. And I ended up signing with the. I was like, yeah, I'll go to West Palm. Hell yeah! So I went to West Palm, signed with the Florida. That's how I ended up with the Florida Bobcats.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So fast forward to you're in the Arena League for a couple years.
Yeah.
Starting to feel yourself develop. When and how did that feel when you were like, all right, I got this thing down pack on both sides? Like I said, I feel like you're one of the best to do it on both sides of the ball. Like, when did you start to feel like I got a hang of this thing of blocking, I got a hang of this thing pass rushing together? I got a good mix of both of these things going. Like, when did that happen, and how did that feel when you were like, I got this thing down on both sides?
It happened in when I was in Philly. It happened when I was in Philly. I mean, I understood the game really, really well because I had, I had been playing for 10 years. What I mean? I had 10 years in, and I had been coached by several different people. I knew good coaching, and I knew garbage coaching. But I had been coached when I telling you, coming here to Orlando solidified my skill level on both sides of the ball. And it really put me in a position that I understood the details of the game. Because Jay and Fran, that was, if you was gonna play, you had to understand. You had to understand the details of the game. You had to take it serious. It couldn't be something where it was like I'm just here, collecting it. No, you gonna understand how to play. You gonna understand how to actually be a great player. So in 06, man, I hit my stride in 06, man. I felt good. That's probably 06 was the year that I probably felt the best I had ever felt in my life. I was taking care of myself. I put myself on a nutrition plan that I actually studied and developed, just by eating really whole, good food. I'll have my day after the game where I would go nuts. But during the week, 6 days out of the week, I would really focus on my nutrition. My training habits were consistent, and my understanding of what the game plan was going to be. It was like it became just simple. The game slowed down, man.
Yeah,
It made it easy.
It's funny how you say that, and and I talked to JB. JB said when he was coming up, he looked up to you. He's like, man, that's somebody who I gotta get like. And you're saying 6, and JB was saying it was before that. It's
man, I'm gonna tell you about JB. JB came in '97 like a damn freight train. Because if you look at JB, and JB played with a chip on his shoulder, because JB was tall and lean and quick. And when I saw his ass lift up 320-pound dudes off their feet, I was like, this dude's the real deal. The first time I saw him play, I was with the Albany Firebirds, and they had just had the expansion team come to because Jay was the offensive coordinator. Was in Nashville. Man, JB lit our ass up. And Kyle, anybody know Kyle? Kyle was one of the best centers in the game. and Kyle had a handful with JB. You know, JB getting that little cock stance. He getting that cock stance, boy, that damn foot. And he put that dog on the first two steps, and he had people lifted up. I had never seen nothing like that. And I'm gonna be honest with you. I used to watch JB's film so I can understand how to beat people.
Mm-hmm.
I'm telling you, I used to feed off JB. Because I mean, JB had his natural first two steps was I don't care, I don't give a damn who you are. His first two steps, he gonna get up in your ass and he gonna push your ass back a few steps. And if you come off light, you don't sit down, you don't sit your ankle in the ground, your ass is gonna go for a ride. I saw him do it, and he not only did it like once or twice. I saw this dude do it like 10 times. You don't see that in the outdoor game where you see a 300-pound dude get lifted up 10 times and get put in somebody's lap.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I literally I guess me and JB fed off each other because I saw this dude take over a league that did not see him coming. And I've seen some good people. A lot of people don't know Sylvester Brimbury. A lot of people don't know who Sylvester Brimbury was. Sylvester played with the Tampa Bay Storm. Big Will, your D-line coach.
Willie Fears.
Big Will. He was a doggone dog. Webby was a monster. Man, I'm telling you, people don't know, man. The whole man. I can go down the line, man. Of so many great linemen in this game, and nobody had never seen anything like JB. And JB, JB, and he was a cash. He talked some cash shit.
I know.
He talked so much shit before the game. I just look at him, and I stay to myself because I ain't trying to, I have too much shit, too many crazy things going in my head, so I stay to myself. But I go over there and look at JB just starting fires everywhere. And he was like Muhammad Ali. He would get in people's head and he have them gone before the game even go over. Because you put that mouth, you put that film together, and you see him in person. I've seen so many people crumble, dude. I mean, I ain't even talk. I ain't even bring up Al Lucas, Big Al.
Yeah.
Big Al, rest in peace, man. I mean, he was a doggone monster too. BJ Cohen, one of the best teammates you could ever have. You got to get BJ on here.
I already got plans for BJ.
Okay, there it is. I mean, me and BJ, it was the best thing. Tommy D at Mac. Big Rich. I mean, you gotta get Rich Crazy Tail on here, man. You know what I mean? You gotta get Rich. You gotta get Rich on here talking crazy.
Oh, Rich, yeah, definitely.
Man, and I'm naming people who was all on that championship team in 2000 here in Orlando. Mm-hmm. We had one of the best defensive lines in the history. I don't give a damn who you is. We had one of the best defensive lines in the history of arena football. Bar none. I don't care what anybody say. We got to the playoffs. I'm telling you, and I'm getting chills thinking about this shit. We got into the playoffs, and we knew nobody's gonna beat us. We knew nobody's gonna beat us. We knew it. And that's what you play. You play the game, any game you play for that damn championship feeling where you untouchable. I don't care what you do, I'ma still beat you. And you're gonna know, and you're gonna see the punch coming, and you're gonna just have to take it. And it's gonna come again in the same fashion over and over and over until I get your ass to fall out. Mm-hmm. And that's how we were. We were like that. We would feed off each other. Rich was crazy, man. But we had so much fun, man. That championship game, we literally had a damn ball. It was like a party. I'm telling you, man, we had so much fun in that game. And actually, we played against JB. You know what I mean? And I got I got a safety on JB.
Yeah, I'm sure he think about that too.
I know he probably do. I got a safety on the damn first play of the game. Shit. I mean, I literally, man, that feeling of being invincible, and JB and them had. I mean, they had a devastating line too. They were really good. Every line JB was on, to be honest, they were all. Man, when he went to Chicago, he set the tone in Chicago, just like you. You know what I mean? Y'all set it when y'all, you know, it's just certain players, man, that set the tone at that position, and it ends up transforming a team into a winner. You know what I mean? And that's what I was blessed to see, you know, my years playing arena, seeing stuff like that, man. You know, I probably went off on a tangent, man, because I got excited, man. When I think about that year, man, where I was literally on a team where I don't care who they put in front of us, we was gonna win. We knew we was gonna win. I'm telling you, we would be in practice. We weren't saying like, man, I don't even know why they gonna show up. We didn't say nothing like that. We was like, man, whatever gonna happen, man, we gonna win. And it's not even a question, man. You can practice all you want. We'll give you our playbook. We'll give you what we got, and you still ain't gonna beat us because we gonna wear your tail out. We gonna find a way, and we have a way where we gonna beat you in every facet of the game. And that was the coolest thing, man. That was probably one of the best experiences.
Oh, yeah, I could tell. You started slapping the table. I knew it was on. I knew you was having a flashback. I was like, yeah.
Man, hey, like I said, man, I love the game of football, man. It's a true love of you know, it's allowed me to do some real cool things, and it's gave me an opportunity to meet some cool people, have some really good teammates, and you know, and in a lot of ways support my family and do, you know, what I'm doing now. So, you know.
All right. So now that you didn't spoke on it, let's talk about what you're doing now.
There it is. Yes, that's my podcast. That is the Game Ready podcast that I've started in 2020, and I rebooted it this year. And really, the focus has been just me, just kind of blogging and emptying out my base of knowledge of my brain on camera, and also interviewing former college athletes. That's been one of the focuses, but you know, I haven't had a chance to do that over the last several months. I've been dealing with some family issues. Now everything's cool. I'm gonna get back into it. But it's a podcast that's really focused on it's, you know, sharing my experiences as an athlete, sharing the experiences of other former college athletes, and really focusing on improving your life on a daily basis and using the principles of sports to do that. You know what I mean? That's why it's called Game Ready, because, man, life is a game in a lot of ways. I mean, and really, really, man, you want to stay ready. And, you know, people used to say, have a phrase, the game of life. You know, that's why I came with the name Game Ready. So that's my pet project.
Good. So talk about your gym.
Okay, yeah, I'm the owner and the head trainer of Atlas Performance Training, which it may be backwards on the film. I'm not sure, but I started my gym in 2012. I've been in this brick and mortar since 2016, and I focus on training general population and some youth athletes. But my main focus now is going into where this industry is going into a lot of areas of preventative health care, where exercise is one of the main focuses on actually making people healthy, fighting different diseases, making holistic changes to your life that coincide with exercise. Not just going in here lifting weights and worrying about losing 30 or 40 pounds, but how can I, lift weights and do cardio to actually, to improve my life in a holistic way. Because I don't know, most people actually use physical exertion, exercise, to actually help manage stress. And it's been scientifically proven that exercise is one of the best ways to actually help manage stress and actually, increase your lifespan. So my mission is to help people live a life without any kind of physical limitation. And it actually was a selfish endeavor on my part because of the abuse that I put myself through when I was younger, creating a body that I wanted to become a weapon. I actually sustained a lot of injury, and I knew that I needed to stay mobile in order to make that transition into me getting older easy. I had to stay moving. I have to lift. I noticed that after my first year in arena, I didn't lift for like almost 4 or 5 months, and my body started settling down, and my joints started aching. I'm 23 years old, and I'm getting out of bed, and my knees and shoulders are hurting. And I'm like, man, I got to do something about this. So I did some research, and I started lifting weights, and then it slowly evolved into me actually studying how to actually improve my physical well-being while I train. And after I retired, I ended up closing down one business, and I ended up starting my health and performance company, and that really has been my main focus, is really, along with helping other people, helping myself understand how my body can actually change and adapt by lifting weights, by doing mobility and flexibility work, paying attention to my nutrition at least 70% of the time, and making sure I'm getting the proper rest and putting everything together so I can live as long and as I possibly can with a high quality of life.
Mm-hmm. I remember when you first started with the gym, I had to take notice because you dropped a bunch of weight. Like, dang,
yeah.
This is you being this monster.
I know.
You dropped a bunch of weight. What he doing over here?
and that's never, dropping weight has never been an issue. And that's been a constant battle. I'm gonna be honest with you, because I'm used to being substantial, and I'm like 270, I'm like 272 now. And when we played, when you first met me, when you was a rookie, I was 315. After I retired, I got up to 345.
Mm-hmm.
No, I was like 348 pounds, where I was tying my shoe, with my fingertips. So, you know what I mean? Because I couldn't bend over. Then that's when I started my gym and I tried to make the transition. I really started focusing on how I can actually just improve my lifestyle. And, believe me, it's been a constant battle, because I love cookies, man. Anybody know me, you can bribe me with cookies every doggone day of the week, and you probably gonna get what you want. So I mean, but I try to make it real. I try to make it into a treat now.
Yeah. That's I'm at a point now where it sounds like I weigh the same as you, which don't even sound right even saying.
I know.
Yeah, I'm about 270, 275, somewhere around there. I ain't never been there before. Ever.
Hey, that's daddy life. Hey, I already know. I don't know how your household is, but I know when my kids was little, I didn't want no food to get wasted. So I would eat their food if they didn't
I do that. I do that too. You be mad when you get you get them some McDonald's and they
Yeah,
wasting some fries. You be like, man, give me them
man, you.
fries.
That's what I'm saying. I'm
You be
telling
eating
you.
you don't want to. You just know that my money ain't going to waste. I'm about to eat this.
Hey, that's what gets you in trouble as a dad, man. And that's why I got up to 340, 348. Man, if kids wasting food, man, you ain't gonna waste no food here, man. So, but I understand, hey, but it's a constant, it's a constant progression, man. And shoot, I'm 52 years old, man, and I'm blessed to be this age. And I'm it's a constant evolution as a person to learn how to take care of yourself, man. And that's my goal in the profession that I'm in now, is to help people understand how to take care of themselves as they get older. I mean, I started out training youth athletes, but I slowly transitioned out of that unless it's like a really um, special situation with an athlete. So I train a lot more older adults, not real older adults, but people between the ages of like 40 and like 60 who want to remain active, who want to do some cool stuff, who don't want to second guess themselves if they want to run a marathon, if they want to go for a walk, if they want to carry the groceries in, if they got a bag of dog food they got to move. They're not second guessing themselves like, oh man, I don't know if I can carry this dog food in. Oh
Mm-hmm.
man, they go and grab the doggone food because they're physically in tune with their body where they don't have any second guesses about their physical ability. That's
Yeah.
where I've transitioned my training philosophy and program into.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So, um, let's kind of in closing. Let's talk about. I want you to tell me, or give people advice on players. They're at a
Oh,
crossroads, or what. Do I want to still keep playing? What. Basically give advice to young players nowadays that are looking to play, and going
yeah,
forward.
yeah. I would say this. Everybody has their own journey, and it comes down to you dedicating yourself to your craft. I mean, it may sound like a cliche, but if you're gonna do it, do it. You know, I mean, but you have to have an idea that it's gonna end, especially in football. It's gonna end one day. So you need to start thinking about that, and you're gonna know when to start preparing for that end. I can say personally, I kind of ignored it, and I was a little bit behind the eight ball because I knew the well was dry, but I did not know how to fully transition into something that I love to do. You know what I mean? And I
Mhm.
and I what I would say is to a dedicate yourself to the craft of where you're at right now. Go all in. Don't second guess yourself. Don't try to be a jack of all trades. Focus on the thing. Keep the main thing the main thing. If the main thing is football and college at that time, because they coincide together when you in school and in high school. If it's sports and education, that's the main thing. If you want to play professionally these days, you got to be a doggone. You have to be more than physically gifted. You have to be smart. And being smart means applying yourself and really dedicating yourself to understanding the fundamentals of the game, your alignment, your assignment, your technique, and then understanding what the next guy is doing next to you, the guy behind you, understanding what his job is, and then you put it all together, and then eventually you'll become proficient at it. But that's all in you keeping focused on being a master or a detailed person with what you're doing right now.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Don't waste any time, trying to be cute with the mess. Don't go for style points. Just a few people in sports are blessed to do this shit with some style. I don't know if you can cuss on that on here.
Because
I'm gonna be honest with you, man. Fuck style. Style don't pay the bills. You know what I mean? Get to work and do the best job to be the best mentally prepared and physically prepared athlete, football player you can be. Dedicate yourself to that. You know what I mean? Don't waste no time, because every time you step on the field, you're in practice, you're in meetings, you are being watched. And as a coach, a guy can be on the border, but if them two out of three things he's good at, if he's a smart dude and he shows up on time, he's dedicated, he can be an average player. He gonna get it. He gonna get it over somebody missing the two who's athletically gifted. He's gonna get the job because you can trust him.
Yep.
You can trust him. So you got to be trustworthy, and you got to be in a position where you prove every day that you are that you are worth the rent of that space that you in. A coach told me a long time ago, and he used John F. Kennedy. I'm aging myself some more. He was like, "We're all expendable. We're all renting space." And if you understand the story of John F. Kennedy, he was the president one day in the morning, and 24 hours later, another guy stepped in with no problem, and his wife stood next to the man who took his job with his brains on her dress, and life moved on. You are always renting space wherever you're at, so you got to pay rent every day and make sure you are due, that you are worthy of the position you are in every day.
So, oh man, that thing right there, deep, right? that thing hitting hard right there. That's pretty deep.
But hey, I try to live like that, man. I fall short like everybody else, man. I mean, this journey that we on, in life, man, is really, you got to look at it as a blessing, and really take these lessons and hopefully, bless somebody else with your shortcomings, and give them some solutions on some stuff that they're going through at the point too. So, before I get on this soapbox too much, so I'm a stop. So
you good, but yeah, I don't want to hold you up too much. I just want to, catch up with you and
EJ,
tell your story.
Hey, man, I appreciate it, man. Hey, I don't know if you allow repeat guests, man, but hey, if you, hey, I would love to come back and do it again. Hopefully, man, it will be cool if you could do like two at the same time, like match up players.
I wanna eventually do that, but there's so many cats that I want people to know more about.
Oh yeah, man. Hey, I'm gonna be honest with you, man. If you can find, and I don't know if you can get Webby on here, if you can get Sylvester Brimbury, shoot,
I gotta connect me with him. I ain't got no connection with him. I could hit a Webby. Colin Moore Brown, he in Vegas right now, so coaches. So eventually once the season's over, probably there's a couple more guys that I'm gonna have on here. Just time is just not right. I got DJ that eventually I have on here. AG I have eventually. This summer is gonna be pretty good. I got a couple guys that just everything has just been so much going on.
Oh, I understand, man. Hey, whatever I can do to help, man, let me know. Hey, it's a beautiful thing you're doing, man. It's actually helping keep the game alive in a lot of people's lives who it meant so much. I don't care who you are. You may only plan to be in this league for like a short amount of time, but if you play in the league over 5 or 6 years, you learn to love the game, and you love to learn. You had a true respect and a joy playing the game. So man, I appreciate you doing this.
Nah, I
Seriously.
appreciate you coming on. Like I said, you meant so much to my game just
Oh,
from putting that pressure on me. Look here, either you gonna figure out how to block or your ass gonna get cut. And then just watching how you prepare. It's just if I hadn't had the opportunity to
oh,
cross paths with you, I probably wouldn't have been doing anything.
oh, man, that I don't know about that, man. You was like a doggone sniper. Shit, I mean, seriously. I mean, you was the quiet. You like the Grim Reaper. Shit. I mean, you put people to sleep quick, and when he knows coming. You know what I mean? Hey, big dog, you had a style that nobody can emulate, and it was beautiful to see, man. I'm being real, man. I mean, you were humble and always very appreciative of everything. I never saw you do anything crazy. You always were helpful, man. And even when I went to Philly, man, I know John loved you. You know, I mean, that's you the first person they mentioned. You know, when they talk to me, they like, we got EJ Bird up here. I'm like, yeah, okay, all right, there it is. And I mean, everywhere you've gone. I know, you've always set the tone, man. And you mentioned to me as being a part of that. I'm humbled by you even saying that, man. I appreciate it.
I meant that shit.
I appreciate, I appreciate, I appreciate it, man. I appreciate it. I wanted to say one thing. We lost. I've lost a lot of teammates over the last few. We've lost a lot of teammates the last few years, and one teammate that we lost that that I wish I wish I would have had a chance to say something to is Reggie Lee. You know what I mean? And Reggie was a special dude, man, and I really, he's, you meet people, you meet certain people in life that are just real, just real special people. And he was one of the, he was a real cool dude, man. I wish I would have had the opportunity to talk to him. I don't know. I just wanted to say that, man. I wish
Yeah.
he would be on. I wish he was one of the people you could interview because he was one of the best storytellers that you would
Yes,
ever meet in your life. You know what I mean?
he was.
So yeah,
So,
man.
but yeah, I ain't gonna hold you up.
No, I
Appreciate you
appreciate it, man.
and coming on, and yeah, and I'm definitely once we get to the point where I tell, get a bunch of guys on telling their story, definitely kind of progress to the point where we're kind of having, we can have a D line kind of some
Oh
symposiums,
my God,
whatever, that
that'd
kind of
be
stuff.
cool.
I definitely got plans to do stuff like that. But I just so many people I want their stories told first.
Man, hey, this is a wonderful thing, man. I appreciate even being a part of it, man. And I thank you. Thank you.
No problem. So appreciate it, and we'll be talking. So we're gonna go
Yeah.
ahead and sign off, and we'll sure be talking in the future.
Yes, sir. You guys
All
have a
right.
good one. Take care.
Yep.
All right. That
What
was
you